Hey everyone. I've been looking forward to making this video for a while. Like I'm actually very excited because there've been so many changes and she's a new character and like I'm bringing all these videos back. I'm starting my channel up again. And man, Demon is nothing but a Doomfist victim. And I love it. It's hilarious. There's nothing she could do against a Doomfist. But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, sort of. She's I do like the matchup when I play Doomfist against her. But I actually like the character a lot. I find her very fun, very hero fantasy ish, and design wise, I think she's a mess, which is also why I was excited to make this video. But yeah, I think she could be awesome, and I think there's a lot of things we can do to make her, what she's supposed to be. So yeah, let's begin. Demon is a character people wanted in Overwatch for years. I think she's been, what is it? They've like kind of shown her silhouette or like kind of demonstrated things or like hinted at her for like maybe the last, I think maybe even in Overwatch 1, like ever since, like, yeah, I don't know, at least 5 years. At least 5 years. Like Diva and her band of, people, her little team. So yeah, I think the developers got a lot right. Like the giant mech, plasma sword, the shield, and boosters all make her look and feel the way she should, like an aggressive frontline Gundam. Even like her sword, it's almost exactly like, and her ultimate, it's like the Shining Finger from Gundam. So I think they did a great job of doing the hero fantasy thing. Again, the weight of the animations, the mech's movements, the visible strafing when you're with your shield, when your shield comes up and you can see yourself moving, and even if I'm fighting a demon, the way if they're trying to escape and they just strafe backwards, I always find that so cool, especially if they do it well. Even the way she assembles when she powers back up like a Megazord, it's all of that is very hero fantasy, aesthetically just perfect. I don't even have a particular reason to learn how to play her. Like, I think all the tanks I normally play kind of covers, the rotation I need to be able to counter anybody. But she's just so cool. I just want to know how to play with her. Unfortunately, her actual play style is very strange. She plays like a very cowardly Reinhardt who, abandons his team to go fight in the enemy's, like, kind of backline because she doesn't really do anything to tanks, and then runs away back to her team and then sees that her team is dead. Now, maybe it's just because I suck. I don't know. But I find her kit very, very odd. Her biggest problem is that her abilities don't really connect strongly enough to make her consistently effective. She does lack damage, which feels strange for a frontline who's carrying a giant plasma sword. Well, I don't know if it's plasma sword. Maybe it's hard light like they do all the time. And part of me understands why, right? Nobody wants a faster Reinhardt with more health, mobility, range, and more life, or I guess a second life. But if low damage is her weakness, the rest of her kit needs to clearly explain what she does in exchange. And I don't think low damage should be a weakness. Again, low damage as in, it takes like what, 4 or 5 swipes to take out like a tiny character. And yes, she does hit several people at the same time, so I don't want to take that away. But it is weird for the way she's designed to be a frontline tank mech with a sword to just have all this stuff that doesn't really work together. So just like the Doomfist episode, this is going to be a part 1 character philosophy and brainstorming session. The follow-up video when we do balance everything and is going to be after I respond to whatever you guys think in the comments. Go over every comment, and if whatever comment you say gets implemented in the final rework, then I'll make a shout out for you in the next video. So yeah, let's begin. How do we fix her? Well, actually, before that, let's give her current ratings. So right now, and I'll put the Doomfist things here. I guess I'll list every character we've covered so far, and see what we can do with it. So her power right now, their universal ratings is power and HP. Her power is like out of 3, and her HP is out of 5. and you know that's obvious. I'll give her CC a 1, and then we go into the tank specific attributes. So I'll give her CC a 1, her damage mitigation a 3.5, and her sustain a 0. Now her power is barely hanging on to a 3 in my opinion. Her normal damage feels very low to me, but I think the only thing that kind of really redeems her is it's the thing that redeems it really is her surging strike, I believe. Like when she stabs, she does that stabbing strike out of her shield. That does a ton of damage and hits a ton of people. And then, you know, since she's able to hit multiple people at the same time, that's why I have her as a 3. But it's for example, let's say, I guess I'll get into this as we go along, but her gun, I don't even, it doesn't, it's not good. Like I don't, it feels like somebody was just like, oh, let's give her a gun. And then the spread is horrible, the damage is pathetic, and it's on a cooldown, and it doesn't make any sense. And then when she's demech'd, I feel like she does, I don't know if she does less damage than D.Va, or it's just harder for her to hit people. Which again, it doesn't make sense because D.Va has a pistol. She has like a freaking a Gatling gun. It doesn't make any sense. So we'll address those as we go along. Her HP is unquestionably a 5. I think on paper she does well. Okay, yeah, her HP is unquestionably a 5 just because it's so high, right? There is a ton of issues with kind of like her health, her effective health, because she's a melee character that's always in everybody's face and always getting headshot and all those things. But her HP is a 5. Her CC is a 1 because her surging strike and kinetic charge can push enemies, and if you know what you're doing, you know, you could push people into a hole in that control map, or you know, just push people off cliffs and stuff. And I guess she has two of them, and they push you a decent, I don't want to say decent, it pushes you a decent far distance back, but it doesn't stun you, it doesn't really stop you from doing anything. It's just kind of I guess a minor inconvenience, especially since most of the characters kind of just shoot you, and that's perfectly fine. Like not every tank needs to have some type of CC, although CC is something that is reserved specifically for tanks. This is said by Blizzard, although there are other characters who do things, but they specifically said that they wanted CC to be like a tank thing. And we'll see how that goes, because I think they wanted to do that because you could only have one tank, but now it looks like they're going to be making 6v6 pretty prominent, so, you know, we'll see. So her damage prevention is a 3.5, and I'm very tempted to bring it down to a 3, right? So I feel like I should change that. I feel like her power should be 2.5 and her damage prevention should be a 3.5. But let me work through this. So damage prevention, she has this giant shield, and which is great. That's already big on its own. But the directional movement while her shield is up is also amazing. Again, you got mobility, and you got a shield. That in itself is great. That should make her like a 4 or a 4.5 or something. The problem is that her melee style pressures have to spend those tools like right when you're in the front, like when you're in the face of your enemy. So she has to basically take away from her ability to mitigate damage. She has to be in everybody's face, and they're all just headshotting her, like melting her. Like you get melted when your shield's down. And you know, being forced to use those abilities to get into the fight, like you can't always use it to get out of the fight. But then with the perk system, it does like the 30% movement, was it 30% fuel reduction when you have your shield up. I think that's great. I think that's an awesome perk. But I tend to judge them on the base. But also you're dying immediately. Not immediately, I'm exaggerating. I am exaggerating. But she has the shield, she has the movement, she has such big HP, and it kind of just brings her back to a little more than average. So I guess that's why she's a 3.5. For her sustain, she doesn't have any. Outside of her limit break, that gives her like a ton of overhealth, but very easy to stun her out of. She doesn't have any sustain. And remember, sustain, guys, is the the ability to, I guess, put health on, like over health or heal or something like that. So she doesn't have any of that. She's completely dependent on her support characters, which again is very weird for a person who is giant, super easy to headshot, and always like in the face of the people that, you know, are shooting at her. And again, it's not something a tank needs. Like CC, like in the tank category, like these three things is not necessarily something a tank needs, but they need to make up for what they don't have in like in other areas. And if you look at the list, there's not a lot of making things up for it, right? Like Reinhardt, at least, his power is so immense, it kind of does, you know, what is it? Mitigate his weaknesses, because once he's in there, he's killing everybody, right? But Reinhardt at higher levels is very difficult to play, right? He's like so dependent on everybody else. Reinhardt CC also isn't that great, but it is meaningful, right? Being able to charge people out of the way, and he has this one hit KO move that he pulls out every several seconds. Like it is made up in certain ways, but also I wouldn't say Reinhardt's a high tier character. Now, if you look at all the high tier characters like Sigma, who's been like S tier for the past like 2-3 years, he has everything. he has like all of these. So she does have a lot of things, but at the same time, she doesn't have that much, which is, again, this is a problem I think they had maybe, I don't know if it's the end of Overwatch 1 or the beginning of Overwatch 2, where the new characters just felt like they just threw a bunch of stuff on a wall and then just, or like they grabbed like the bits of Play-Doh at the bottom of a trash and just put it together. It's like, hey, I made a horse. Like, like it was just this weird thing, and it's kind of what she is, but they're like almost there. It's a bunch of things that don't really work well together. There's like no cohesion. So I think that's where I guess we'll talk about that right now. What we're gonna basically end up doing is find the cohesion and the gameplay loop of this character, right? Again, if we talk about her gun, it's just so. It was really, hey, she needs a long range attack, so they just put that on her. So yeah, right now for her gameplay loop, she should be able to march towards the enemy, you know, but while she's behind her barrier, smash through the formation, and use her boosters to kind of stay on top of them or to retreat, depending on what she needs to do. Right now, all those parts feel separated, right? Especially the gun. Like, where does the gun fit into all of this? And as I said in all my videos, we're gonna double down, and we're gonna lean into like a specific thing of her kit, right? How Doomfist, his whole thing is mobility and like punching physical combos. For her, I'm gonna make her thing her her sword and shield combo. I want that to kind of feed into each other and have some form of synergy, and then we'll have something for her gun. So first, the first thing I want to do, I want to change her power barrier to become a power block barrier. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doomfist power block. It's funny because it's crazy to hear me say this, but if any character needs Doomfist power block, it's her. Take that trash off of Doomfist and put it on D.Mon. Damage blocked by power barrier should generate kinetic shield that increases her sword damage. One version works like Doomfist, right? You put the block up, and then after a certain threshold, she gets like an empowered sword strike. You could also have it kind of like Zarya's energy bubble, where the more damage you block, the more damage her sword strikes, her sword attacks would do, and, you know, degrades over time. This alone is huge and would fix so much. That's the issue with her. Now you have a synergy between your shield and your sword. It could be on a cooldown. Well, yeah, it could be on a cooldown, or maybe while you have your shield on, you could press another button and have it like absorb energy instead of just blocking it. Like, there's so many ways we can balance this by the next video, but this will work into her having to be an aggressive character, which is what she's designed to do. When you're a melee, like, you know, like formation breaking character, like Reinhardt, you want to be aggressive. Like this is what you're designed to do. So yeah, D.Mon is begging for this mechanic. Her barrier is smaller than Reinhardt, so, you know, she doesn't really protect anybody. Well, I shouldn't say that. She's not. It's not necessarily for protecting your team the way Reinhardt's is. It does protect your teammates because she's pretty big. So if it covers her, it covers everything behind her. But successfully, personal blocking should prepare for a more aggressive response, in my opinion. I gotta stop saying in my opinion. Like it's my video. Of course, it's my opinion. Like what are we talking about? Anyways, this connects the two defining pieces of the character, sword and shield. Again, we're doubling down. This is the hero fantasy. This is, everybody has like one or two things that kind of define them. For her, it's her sword and shield. So blocking no longer is like waiting for, I guess, permission to play, you can say. It creates the next offensive opportunity. And the enemy has a decision to make. Do we keep shooting to break the barrier? And if it breaks, we get to kill her and everybody behind her. But she could become stronger and get to us and kill everybody. Or, well, not everybody. It's not going to be that OP. Or do we stop shooting her, let her get into our front line, but, remove her ability to get... Well, don't give her the chance to get, like, super powered for one strike or several seconds. It forces decisions, and that's pretty cool. We could also make her shield weaker for this. We could probably half it. I think it's like 650 right now or something. We can make it like, I don't know, like 400. Now let's talk about the Plasma Saber. And I'm actually kind of perfectly fine with how the Plasma Saber is now, especially with the addition of what we did with her new power shield block. So that already kind of makes it stronger. But the low standard damage of her Plasma Saber, I think is perfectly fine. Like she's kind of like D.Va, where she doesn't really do that much damage against tanks, but could put pressure and completely melt squishies like very easily. Again, like D.Va. So, and she's able to hit several characters at the same time. So I really don't think we need to change anything here. It's great for her to just isolate squishies, take them out, and then go back to your team. I think that's fine, especially with the surging strike attack. And let's say now we have the empowered version of that. I think she'll have a good amount of spike damage that will kind of make up for her relatively low damage that she normally does. So if anything, that one perk she has where the more she attacks, it kind of heals her shield faster. Maybe that should be kind of a standard for her. And we'll get into that later, because if you guys remember in the Doomfist video, the way I split up perks is it's trying to help you be more offensive or defensive. So right now, both of her minor perks are defensive perks, right? The more you attack, the faster your shield comes back. Or while you shield, you use less, you have higher mobility because you use less gas. So, and one of them should be offensive. So I think maybe this should just be standard. The goal, again, is for the gameplay loop. So you block to empower the sword, and then you attack to restore your shield. So again, just doubling down, honing in on the sword and shield part of her. I guess a third leg or a second leg you can say that she's based off of is her mobility, but because that is kind of very unique to her. I don't think any other character has that kind of mobility. But yeah, I think as for her sword and shield kind of base, I think this is good what we came up with. Again, surging strike, I think is perfectly fine the way it is now, especially with it being empowered. If there's anything we want to do, maybe because her CC is so low, maybe if she surging strikes you into a wall, you get like stunned or something for a second, kind of like how that I forget what that character's called, that new one. Her name's Domina. Yeah. Maybe something like her push. If she pushes you, it doesn't push you back that far, but if you hit a wall, it does stun you. That's an idea. I don't really like that. I don't think everybody needs a stun. Also, playing against stuns is very annoying, and I'm saying that as a Doomfist player. Yeah, so you can do that. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think everybody needs something like that. Maybe if it's fully empowered, if you surging strike somebody into a wall, they get stunned. That is something I could see getting in there. It's not, I really don't see it necessary. It could just be raw damage. But having those two layers of, it has to be surging strike, it has to be into a wall, and it has to be when it's empowered. I think that's I think that would be fine. But yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be something I want. Her propulsors also, again, there's a lot. I guess there's a lot I wouldn't change about her. Well, there is a lot that I would change. We just haven't gotten to all of them yet. And I think the empowered shield is already a pretty huge change that kind of does a feedback loop, especially with attack to get your shield back, and then putting your shield to get a stronger attack. I think that's already really big changes. But for her propulsor, I think it's great. If I had to think of maybe one criticism is I would like maybe some form of vertical lift when she's using it. Not high, not like Diva, not like she could fly everywhere or anything like that, but maybe like a, what do you call that? Like a limit, a lesser version of what Juno has, where there's like a limit to how high she could get. Like maybe enough to, I don't know, reliably jump over a Junkrat trap or something like that. And this is mainly because it's kind of weird that she can't. It feels like she should be able to do it, but she doesn't. Especially we have the video of her like flying, like just straight up flying, and she's in this futuristic mech suit, and Diva could do it, and she's smaller than Diva, and she's kind of a dive thing. It doesn't matter. But yeah, if there was one change to her her propulsors, that would be what I'd do. But other than that, I think it's perfectly fine the way it is. Maybe we shouldn't be overcomplicating things. Next is her fusion repeater. And the fusion repeater is the worst thing, by far the worst thing in her kit, and the hardest part to fix. Because it feels like it's a ranged option that exists because every modern hero apparently needs to have an answer to everything. The damage feels terribly weak without the perk, and the spread is horrible, the fall off is horrible, and it's on a cooldown all at the same time. There's probably two ways I would go about it. One way I know it's not going to be popular, but I'll just say it anyways. I would like to just get rid of it completely. It is complete. It's just so bad. I just find it to be very bad. And in exchange of that, maybe make her fuel more efficient, or maybe even make her faster. Make her propulsors faster. I would much prefer that. If she could get in and out of a fight better and chase people down, because she has like, let's say we make her like 25% faster. Or even like 50%. No, 50 would be crazy. But if we make it like 25% faster than what she is with her propulsors, I think that'll be much more useful than this crappy gun. And it's the whole, we're cutting out the fat and we're just doubling down on everything about her. So she'll be like this like very speedy but on a cooldown character with a sword and shield that you can empower, that has to play in between her sword, her shield, and her speed. I think that's like the perfect way, in my opinion, to just double down on what she already does. But it is a shooter, so I guess we can't really do anything about that. Another thing that could be done is kind of like Junker Queen has that ability to throw her knife and then pull the person back. Maybe a utility ability that does some type of damage, but also allows you to bring a certain person closer to you. Since this feels like it's just there to get people who are at a longer range. So instead of just giving her a gun, you could give her something that, instead of you being able to shoot them from far away, you're able to bring them to you in some way. I guess this is going to be the main thing I'm going to need more help on, because I would just prefer to get rid of this. But I think the Junker Queen knife pull thing would be really good for her, especially since she's melee. So again, we're just doubling down on what this character is supposed to be able to do. As for her limit break, her ultimate, I just realized in Doomfist video, I didn't do his ultimate. Whatever. I guess that will be in the final one. Yeah, in the second part. But yeah, her limit break is great. I don't think anything needs to change for this. It's very powerful. It's very Gundam. Shining finger. What's the line? My love, my anger, and all my sorrow. Shining finger. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. If there is something we could change about it, because she gets overhealth, she makes everybody weaker. It does a lot of damage to everybody in the area. It's already really good. But if there is one thing we could change, maybe we can make it so that her fuel doesn't go down for like a certain amount of seconds. She just has unlimited fuel, so she could just kind of follow up on anybody to make her like a supremely aggressive, Gundam. I think it was maybe, I don't know if you guys watched Gundam Zero, is when they had like this new fuel source, energy source. Yeah, her like it was. I think it was Gundam Zero, and then like this guy comes out with this awesome Gundam, and he's able to move in ways everybody doesn't know how to move, and they're like, "Whoa, how do you do that?" And then later on, they start kind of being able to do that. I think that's kind of like what they could do with this. It's just she just had unlimited fuel, and she's like moving in all these weird directions, and it will playing against her like that would feel like you're one of the Gundams going against the guy in the anime. But I digress. The ultimates aren't really something I want to spend too much time trying to change because they don't happen that often. Like how many times you get your ult in a game? Like maybe 5, depending on the character. It'd also be cool if she does get like diva flight, so she just has full range of motion everywhere. I think that would be pretty cool. But again, that's not necessary. Like so for like limit break, the propulsors, the surging strike, and the plasma saber, I think those are the suggestions I gave for those are not necessary. But I think they would be pretty cool. So again, this is a brainstorming video, and we'll get into what actually needs to be there and how we're going to balance everything in the follow-up video. Now we get to talk about the perks. So, as with Doomfist, perks should be specialized in something the character already does and helps them do that thing better in 2 directions. For me, in 2 directions. Offensive and defensive. So, again, her offensive, it's her sword. Her defensive is her shield. And her mobility, her strafing around. And actually, I think where they kind of hit the nail on the head, or almost on the head, is her perks. I think all her perks right now are awesome. But they don't, like I said, it's like I said earlier, all of her minor perks are defensive. So an easy one for the minor perk on the offensive side would be landing 3 consecutive plasma saber attacks on the same enemy makes the third deal 25 additional damage and restores 50 power barrier health. So again, we're doing the sword and shield thing. So again, it's just a little bit of extra damage, but again, she can hit a lot of people at the same time. Is why the 25 can effectively be very useful, because you'll be doing an extra 75 damage if you're hitting 3 people, and normally I'm hitting like 2 or 3 people at the same time. So the perk rewards maintaining contact and completing a melee sequence, and the enemy could interrupt it. Right, the extra damage creates a spike without permanently buffing her swings, and the barrier restoration lets her transition back into defense afterwards. And the restoration to the barrier isn't that much, it's 50 every, what would it be? Every 2 seconds, the time it takes her to do 3 swings, so 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. But I guess it's not necessary, especially since this is just supposed to be for attack. So, we can take out the shield, it regenerates, especially since her base already regenerates her shield a little bit. As for her defensive one, I think what they have right now for the 30% less fuel used while you have your shield up, I think that's perfect. I think that is absolutely perfect, and I don't want to change that like at all. So for her major perks, the offensive one should be Focused Fusion. As of right now, Focus Fusion is that she gets that upgraded gun that it's actually pretty strong, pretty powerful. I like that. I'm actually perfectly fine with that being the offensive perk because it does fix something that just kind of sucks. So I'm perfectly fine with that staying the way it is and not changing anything, just like what I did for her fuel in her minor perks. But even if it does start for you as a utility, that's something we're gonna have to work through that. If it becomes a utility, would we want to upgrade it to just being damage? I don't think so. So we'll see. And I guess another change we can do to her gun the way it is now, since it's just kind of duct taped onto her, at its base form, we could just reduce the spread and make the fall off like much better, especially since it's on such a decently long cooldown. I don't see why it's so weak. Now for her defensive major perk, her Her overstrike, I think, is out again. I think they did a good job on her perks. I think it's fine. She gains a lot of health, but I think instead of lifesteal, it should be overhealth. Yeah, I think that would be just to make sure she always gets it. But it doesn't. I don't think it'll. I don't think the way it is that much. The way it is now is that bad because she just has so much health anyways, and she gets like in a fight you get like 2 surging strikes anyways, and you're hitting like 2 or 3 people. And this is really her only way of having sustain. So yeah, and oh yeah, I forgot to say what I would do she when her mech breaks and she's just like in her baby form. That one seems obvious to me. She absolutely has to do more damage than Baby Diva. Like that is just what it has to be. She has a Gatling gun, and Baby Diva has a pistol. Like that makes 0 sense. So I think in her baby form right now she does like 98 damage per second. She has like 8 shots. That has to go up. So I think maybe if she's able to do 130 damage a second, but her HP goes down from 175 to even like 125. Again, like making her a supremely glass cannon, because I do think that's the only way to make that work, right? She shouldn't unless we gave her like mobility or something, but she has to do more damage than Baby Diva. And the only way to counter that is just make her, you could just one-shot her with a Widow body shot. Actually, a Widow body shot, I think it does 120. So if she has 125 HP, she'll only have like 5 HP more. So yeah, it's gonna be the super glass cannon version of Baby Diva. So yeah, with these changes, I can see her power being a 4 because she has the empowered attacks, and she's gonna have those spikes that could do a ton of things. Her HP is already at a 5. Her CC, let's keep it at a 1 for now. I don't know if I want an empowered surging strike to stun people, but maybe if she does get that, this could go up to a 1.5 or maybe even a 2. Her damage prevention, or her damage mitigation would be a 3.5, possibly a 4, depending on what we decide for her mobility. Especially with the fuel changes and being able to maybe lift off of the ground a little bit. And her sustain would still be a 0, but having a 4 damage prevention and more power, I think would make up for it. Much like Reinhardt. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember, this is only part 1. In part 2, we're gonna balance everything, and I go through all the comments. So we'll argue about it, and yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and also don't forget, I love you.